Zinc improves alertness, cognition, focus, memory, learning, recall, reduces brain fog, it's an antioxidant, it helps neuroplasticity, and it protects against glutamate toxicity. It's an essential trace element required for optimal brain health and cognition. It's integral to the synthesis of proteins, the regulation of signaling cascades, gene transcription, and neurotransmitter transport. It's involved in DNA repair and synthesis and methylation. You may think of zinc as a natural cold remedy, or the white lip balm that you use at the beach, but zinc is needed in small amounts every day to maintain optimal brain function and overall health. In practical terms, adequate levels of zinc in your system work as an antioxidant fighting free radical damage. It helps to maintain both male and female hormone balance, and zinc plays a role in neurotransmitter release, affecting learning, memory, and mood. When zinc levels are low, you'll feel fatigued, concentration will be poor, you'll get sick more often, and simple wounds won't heal. Zinc inhibits the NMDA receptors, which reduces glutamate toxicity, and zinc modulates the activity of proteins such as receptors and enzymes that are involved in the regulation of macromolecules, the regulation of signaling cascades, and gene transcription and transport processes. Low zinc levels are found in depression, and the lower the level, the more severe the depression. Zinc increases serotonin uptake in select brain regions, and this increases the efficacy of antidepressants, and it reduces depression because it increases brain-derived nootropic factor. Zinc is involved in preserving genomic stability by the regulation of redox homeostasis, both antioxidant and oxidant signaling, DNA repair, synthesis, and methylation. Zinc inhibits the production of inflammatory cytokines, including NF-kappa B, and it protects against cognitive decline due to toxic copper levels. Zinc is a trace element, and it plays an essential role in overall human health and cognition. It's required for the catalytic activity of around 100 enzymes. It's involved in immune response, protein synthesis, wound healing, DNA synthesis, and cell division. Adequate levels of zinc are crucial for the growth and development when you're young, and they're required for proper taste and smell. Zinc deficiency is common around the world, including in the US. This deficiency occurs because we don't eat enough foods that contain zinc. Your body needs between 10 and 20 milligrams of zinc per day because it cannot store the zinc. You get zinc from eating seafood like oysters or lobster. Beef, pork, or chicken provide smaller amounts of zinc per serving, and it's also present in eggs, yogurts, cheese, and some nuts. But not only don't most of us eat enough zinc-containing foods, many plants contain phytates, which block the absorption of zinc in the body, so vegetarians are particularly vulnerable to a zinc deficiency. Zinc plays a role in modulating your brain and your body's response to stress and depression. More than 100 enzymes in your body use zinc to help make DNA, protein synthesis, and cell division. Zinc is also critical for signaling between and within neurons and other cells in your body. Zinc fingers are present in at least 3% of all your cells. Proteins that contain zinc fingers act as interaction modules, and these bind DNA, RNA, protein, and other molecules. The highest amounts of zinc are found in your brain, particularly your hippocampus. A zinc deficiency can lead to symptoms of depression, aggression, seizures, violence, ADHD, and problems with learning and memory. A study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry shows that malnourished children exhibit a striking increase in behavioral disorders and aggressive behavior. Kids with nutritional deficiencies demonstrated a 41% increase in aggression at the age of 8. At the age of 17, they demonstrated a 51% increase in violent and antisocial behavior. The malnourished kids weren't getting enough critical minerals like zinc and iron, or the B vitamins that they need to develop a healthy nervous system. Levels of zinc have been found to be low in those suffering from depression. In fact, the more depressed someone is, the lower the zinc level. Several human studies have demonstrated that supplementing with zinc with SSRIs helps in the effectiveness of these antidepressant drugs. One double-blind randomized trial with 44 patients with major depression were randomly assigned to receive zinc or placebo. At the conclusion of the 12-week study, the researchers found that zinc supplementation, together with the SSRI antidepressant drug, improves major depressive disorders more effectively than in patients with a placebo plus an antidepressant. Research in the last 10 years has shown that the presence of zinc in the synaptic vesicles of excitatory neurons in the cerebral cortex and the hippocampus regulates synaptic plasticity. Long-term potentiation is a form of synaptic plasticity that's been shown to underlie learning and memory, and zinc in vesicles is critical to promote the proper function of these brain circuits. Zinc deficiency is associated with poor memory, and deficiency impairs signaling of brain-derived nootropic factor, which is also involved in long-term potentiation and memory. One very recent study revealed that the presence of zinc changes the dynamics of the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine at the neuron level. Zinc causes the cellular pore to close more slowly than usual, meaning the vesicle stays open longer and releases more of the neurotransmitter molecules. The researchers concluded, our results finally provide a connection between zinc and the regulation of neurotransmitter release. This could be important for the formation and the storage of memories. One Italian study investigated whether zinc supplementation could help to restore memory in stroke patients. 26 patients took 10 milligrams of zinc daily for 30 days. On day 30 of the trial, researchers found that zinc supplementation significantly assisted in neurological recovery in the stroke patients. And animal models suggest that zinc supplementation may increase resilience to traumatic brain injury for treating anxiety, depression, learning, and memory deficits caused by traumatic brain injury. In this trial, rats with injury to the frontal cortex were fed either a zinc supplement or zinc supplemented diet. The rats were also given a zinc injection an hour after injury. The research team found that zinc supplementation may be an effective treatment option for improving cognitive impairment and depression following a traumatic brain injury. Zinc deficiency is a problem worldwide, including in countries like the US, for several reasons. Our modern diet typically includes a lot of grains, which are usually processed, packaged grain products like cereals. Zinc is found in grains, but the type of zinc is bound to phytates naturally found in these grains, and this blocks the zinc's absorption in the body. So zinc found in whole foods like grain and legumes are not a good source of this essential trace element, and the zinc that you get from eating meat can also be blocked if your meal contains grains or legumes. Eating high carbohydrate food, especially processed foods, in the US and other Western countries are one of the reasons a zinc deficiency is increasing. If you're vegan or vegetarian, you're particularly susceptible to a zinc deficiency. If you've got a chronic digestive problem, leaky gut syndrome, or drink too much alcohol, you're also in danger of zinc deficiency. Zinc deficiency symptoms include brain fog, cravings for salty or sweet food, eating disorders like bulimia or anorexia, chronic fatigue syndrome, hair loss, irritable bowel syndrome, impaired growth and sexual development, infertility and impotence, hypogonadism in males, iron non-responsive anemia, hormonal issues like bad PMS, hyperactivity like ADHD, delayed wound healing, impaired adrenal function resulting in anxiety and stress, low immunity, you get colds and flu more often, or pica, the urge to eat dirt, poor concentration and memory, skin disorders like acne, taste and smell problems, weight loss or weight gain. Any of these problems can happen at any age, including in the developing child, and they can be a result of not getting an adequate supply of zinc. Zinc plays a critical role in how well your brain and your body functions. Adequate levels of zinc will increase your immunity and they'll help you fight colds. A Cochrane review concluded that zinc is beneficial in reducing the duration and the severity of a common cold in healthy people, when taken within 24 hours of the onset of the symptoms. Zinc is a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, and this helps to support healthy cell division and a healthy brain. Zinc balances hormones, which have a direct role in not only your sexual health, but in controlling anxiety, stress, mood, and sleep. Healthy zinc levels help to lower inflammation and oxidative stress. The endothelium, or the thin layer of cells that line blood vessels, rely on adequate supplies of zinc, supporting a strong blood-brain barrier and cerebral blood flow. Zinc is involved in protein synthesis, which is required by your body to use amino acids from food. It's needed for neurotransmitter synthesis and for providing the energy needed from mitochondria in every one of your body's cells. Healthy energy levels and avoidance of chronic fatigue rely on adequate zinc levels. Low zinc levels are a biomarker for depression, and under conditions of chronic stress, you tend to get rid of zinc through sweat, urine, and through saliva. So if you're depressed, you might want to try supplementing with zinc, especially if you're on prescription antidepressants. Research has found that antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications work better when they're taken in combination with zinc. They also work better in combination with omega-3 fish oils. Most users report that supplementing with zinc helps to relax them before going to bed, and they sleep better. They recover from workout faster also. Many report that zinc helps to boost their libido. Zinc first thing in the morning seems to help many with energy and focus throughout the day. Zinc supports a healthy immune system, so you can avoid colds and flu, and if you come down with a bug, zinc will shorten the duration of the illness. Some users say zinc helps to keep allergies from flaring up, and many with skin problems say zinc supplementation reduces acne because it's anti-inflammatory and antibacterial. If you're adult ADHD, you may experience a decrease in anxiety or your perception of stress, and notice an improvement in your mood. One thing to note from all the research is that improvements from using zinc only manifest if you're zinc deficient. The latest theory suggests that depression is associated with a decreased neurogenesis and enhanced neurodegeneration, which in part is the result of inflammation. And lately, there's mounting evidence that depression could be related to decreased zinc levels. Zinc deficiency leads to less zinc in neuron synapses, and this results in an increase in the NMDA receptor. This can cause an overload of toxic glutamate. With an overabundance of glutamate, we get a decrease in GABA and brain-derived nootropic factor, nerve growth factor also. This excitotoxicity is thought to be responsible for seizures, migraines, dementia, anxiety, depression, and bipolar. A double-blind, placebo-controlled trial in Japan worked with 30 women to study the effects of zinc supplementation on mood. Half of the women took a multivitamin, and the other half received a multivitamin with 7 milligrams of zinc per day for 10 weeks. The women who took the multivitamin zinc combination showed a significant reduction in anger, hostility, and depression. The women who took only the multivitamin showed no improvement in mood. Another study with depressed, overweight subjects found that depression decreased in those who were supplementing with zinc, but zinc produced no effect on mood in those who were not depressed in the first place. Researchers concluded that the improved mood in overweight subjects was likely through increasing brain-derived nootropic levels from using the zinc. In the last decade, several studies have been conducted into the role of trace elements like zinc and how they play their part in ADHD. Zinc is required for the production and the modulation of melatonin, which helps to regulate dopamine function. So the theory is that those with ADHD may have benefit from supplementing with zinc. A double-blind, placebo-controlled trial in Turkey conducted with 400 boys and girls with a primary diagnosis of ADHD. Half of the group received 150 milligrams of zinc sulfate for 12 weeks, while the control group received a placebo. The study concluded that zinc monotherapy was significantly superior to placebo in reducing symptoms of hyperactivity, impulsivity, and impaired socialization in patients with ADHD. Another study found that free fatty acids and zinc levels were lower in those with ADHD, but it was concluded that they didn't know that if zinc deficiency was the principal cause of the ADHD or a secondary finding. A study in Croatia again showed that supplementing with 55 milligrams per day of zinc sulfate helped reduce the symptoms of ADHD. Considering the major role that zinc plays in everything from cell growth to DNA synthesis to neurotransmitter synthesis and transport. If your child is diagnosed with ADHD, you don't want to start them off on stimulants. You might want to try zinc with a good omega-3 high in DHA to see if you witness any improvements in their symptoms. Autism spectrum disorders range from a severe form called autistic disorder to a milder form called Asperger's syndrome. If a child has specific symptoms of either of these disorders, but doesn't meet specific criteria for either, the diagnosis is called pervasive development disorder, not otherwise specified, or PDD-NOS. This complex disease can be inherited, but likely also involves environmental factors. A study published in Biomarker Insight in 2011 worked with 71 autistic subjects to study the association between copper and zinc plasma levels in individuals with autism, Asperger's, and PDD-NOS. The participants in the study were tested for levels of zinc, copper, and antioxidants. Then, based on their deficiencies, they were prescribed the appropriate doses of the antioxidants, vitamin C, E, B6, as well as magnesium or manganese, and they were given zinc piclinate daily for at least 8 weeks. At the conclusion of the therapy, those with autism and PDD-NOS had significantly lower levels of copper. All 3 groups had higher levels of zinc. The severity of symptoms decreased in the autistic individuals following the zinc and the B6 therapy, with respect to awareness, receptive language, focus and attention, hyperactivity, tiptoeing, eye contact, sound sensitivity, tactile sensitivity, and seizures. Interestingly, none of the symptoms in the Asperger's patients improved after the therapy. The recommended dose is 30 milligrams of zinc daily, balanced with 2 milligrams of copper. The best food source of zinc by far is oysters. Trailing far behind is other seafood, beef, pork, chicken, some nuts, and some dairy products. Vegans and vegetarians should take note. Don't count on getting any benefits from zinc supplied by vegetables, because the phytates in the vegetables block the zinc absorption in your body. Your body needs zinc, but too much zinc is toxic, and it's difficult to test for zinc using lab tests. There's a simple DIY test first reported in The Lancet that can help to determine your zinc levels. You taste a teaspoon of a zinc assay, and depending on how the liquid tastes, you can then assess your levels according to their guide. Clearly, there's a sweet spot for zinc consumption, and more is definitely not better. More than 50 milligrams per day can throw off your copper levels, mess with your iron function, and reduce immune function. Zinc toxicity typically happens when you take too much zinc, and it can result in abdominal cramps, diarrhea, headaches, loss of appetite, and vomiting. Antibiotics like Cipro and tetracycline interact with zinc, inhibiting the absorption of both zinc and the antibiotic. Zinc can reduce the absorption of rheumatoid arthritis drug, penicillamine, and to prevent this interaction, you should take your zinc supplement at least 2 hours before or after you take your arthritis medication. Some diuretics can increase urinary excretion of zinc by as much as 60%. Prolonged use of these drugs can severely deplete your zinc levels. Zinc can raise your blood pressure, and too much zinc for men can be anti-androgenic, and it will over-inhibit DHT, resulting in symptoms often associated with using the hair growth drug finasteride. Men should also note that too much zinc can dull nerves, including nerves in the penis, because excess zinc can inhibit NMDA receptors. The percentage of bioavailability for zinc varies from form. Zinc ascorbate only 15%, zinc carbonate 52%, zinc chloride 48%, zinc sulfate 22%, zinc bisglycinate 25%, zinc citrate 31%, zinc gluconate 30%, and zinc piclinate 20%. So if you're using zinc piclinate 50 mg tablet, your body may only be able to get 20% of the zinc to be used by your cells. More importantly is the fine balance between copper and zinc. Zinc reduces the amount of copper that your body absorbs because copper competes with zinc to bind with the metallothionein, the binding protein that brings zinc into the cells. The ratio of copper and zinc in your body is more important than the amount of each. Zinc is especially helpful for treating anxiety and depression. Studies have demonstrated that zinc levels are low in those who are dealing with depression, and the lower the zinc level, the more severe the depression. Studies have also shown that if you're having limited success using prescription anti-anxiety drugs or antidepressants, you may increase their effectiveness by supplementing with zinc. Zinc is also particularly useful in helping to alleviate the hyperactivity part of ADHD. Impaired impulsivity and socialization get a boost also. Zinc is also required for efficiently encoding and retrieving memories. Zinc deficiency is a problem worldwide, especially if you're vegan or vegetarian. Too much zinc is toxic. Keep your dose of zinc below 50 mg per day, and be sure to take it with 2 mg of copper to keep your copper-zinc ratio stable.